He's old enough to be my grandfather, but he's a great guy. I love him. And that was by Sean McVay not being threatened by a guy who's been an NFL head coach, and that'll bring him on their staff. Good job, Sean McVay.
Finally, the Saints won their 7th straight game yesterday. New Orleans scored 6 rushing touchdowns in their 47-10 win at Buffalo, including 3 from Mark Ingram and 1 from Alvin Kamara. Hey, CC, what's most impressive about the Saints' dominance so far this season?
We know what Sean Payton can do. We know what Drew Brees can do. But thinking they would have a top 3, a top 5 defense,
it's unbelievable.
If we know they're going to score points, defense is probably the most impressive. But I'm going to slide over here. Their ability to get rid of Adrian Peterson, realize they made a mistake. Most people, they don't want to admit, I made a mistake. In trying to acquire him, which they did this offseason, they said they wanted to run the ball. But they realized with Mark Ingram and Kamara, the rookie from Tennessee, that they could get the same thing done. They made a mistake, let him go, trade him to Arizona. Correcting that, I believe, can lead them to great things because that defense is an outstanding story, too.
So they start out 0-2. They lose to Minnesota and New England. We think same old Saints. Going to score some points. They let Sam Bradford play the game of his life. Then the Patriots put up 36 points. We're like, okay, no defense. Since then, they have a top 3 defense in the league. They have a top 3 running attack in this league. And if I were to tell you going into a season, hey, there's going to be a team that's got top 3 defense, top 3 rushing attack, and a no-doubt Hall of Famer at quarterback, you would say, well, that's the best team in football.
I would say that's Philadelphia.
Hold on. Let's not put Carson Wentz in Hall of Fame just yet. And as good as Philly's been, their defense has not been a top 3 defense for the last 7 weeks. Like, the Saints have been extraordinary. And while we were giving credit, or you were giving credit to the Rams front office, I want to give credit to New Orleans front office in this regard. Right now, with Deshaun Watson injured, with Kareem Hunt tailing off, I think the Saints have not only the defensive rookie of the year in Marshawn Lattimore, but the offensive rookie of the year, friend of the show, Alvin Kamara. Like, the fact that we've seen teams, the Browns, for example, they have the #1 pick, Myles Garrett. He's injured, can't get on the field. They have Jabril Peppers, who hasn't been able to do much for them. The Saints took a 1st-round pick in Lattimore, a 4th-round pick in Kamara, and those guys are helping them win games right now.
Also, watch an interview after the game, where very seldom you ever see 2 players are doing an interview in the locker room.
They like each other.
And Ingram, because he's a great mentor. I know Mark. I've known his dad. I know his family. He's a great mentor to Alvin Kamara, coming from Tennessee, who was at Alabama before he transferred to Tennessee. So they do have some familiar with where they come from. So great situation for the coach to create that chemistry there in the locker room. A lot of times we don't talk about stuff like that, but it's paying huge dividends for them.
And you have a quarterback in Drew Brees who's 39, 38, going to be 39 in like 2 months. Wouldn't it be great to say, hey, we have a rushing attack, so you don't have to do absolutely everything. Right. You don't have to do 100% of the work like you've had to do the last couple of years. Now you can divvy that up.
And if you remember, when Kamara was here, he said that running back room had that relationship.
Yeah.
And then you saw it in that interview yesterday.
Yes.
All right, moving on. It's a little after 9, and we have some breaking news. Ben McAdoo still has not been fired.
Man.
This despite his 1-win Giants team getting crushed 31-21 by the previously winless 49ers. Here's McAdoo meeting the media after the game.
Do you need to address, your situation with the team, because there's going to be speculation?
What situation? We have to go correct the tape. All right. We have to get ready for the next ball game. We have a chance to play probably one of the best teams in football next week. So, no situation.
Nick, start with you. Should the Giants fire Ben McAdoo today?
I believe they should. I believe they will. And the reason is, I think they know he's not going to be the coach next season. So what is the benefit of having him coach out the remaining 7 games of their year? There is some benefit to being the first team to fire its coach. It's never great to fire your coach, but if you know you're going to fire your coach, there is a benefit in getting a head start on everyone else. Being able to start your search first. Being able to...
What's the list, though? Like,
what do you mean, what's the list?
Okay, if we fire our head coach, how do you start a list? Do you start with college coaches? Well, you can't interview anyone until after the regular season, so that's at least another 8 weeks, 9 weeks.
So the teams that fired, no one fired their coach mid-season last year. It was an odd year. But in 2016, the Bills fired their season before the end of the year. Rex Ryan. They got a head start on getting Sean McDermott. The Rams, we've talked about. They fired Jeff Fisher. They ended up bringing in Sean McVay, right? So I'm sorry, those were last year. My apologies. The Rams were last year. Chip Kelly, they bring in Doug Peterson. Like, there are some benefits to getting a head start on everybody else, right?
They still would have gotten those coaches had they not waited till the last day of the regular season and fired them.
Is there anything to lose, CC? From firing your head coach at this point in time when you know you're going to do it?
Yeah, you can lose control of the whole organization and the locker room, and guys can get hurt. Like, I'm not confident that they have an offensive play caller that can keep them in a game plan, and it's not fair to Eli. Eli's been playing this whole career. It's not fair to the other offensive lineman, Bobby Hart. It's not fair to the left tackle, even if you don't think he can play. You need to put the best players out there with a game plan that will protect them, because guys seriously get hurt playing football.
Why do you think the game plan, they wouldn't be able to put a game plan that can protect them out there?
Because I don't see a play caller on the roster. Like, I don't see, you said Spagnuolo, they could make him the interim head coach.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe you gain anything. The defense is playing horrible. So giving him complete control, he has been a head coach before, but if you think you're going to fire him, what do you gain by letting him go now?
I want to see, so here's, in addition to,
this is not college. This is not University of Tennessee, where now they can put out feelers. They're actually talking. This is not Florida. Florida has actually made offers to college coaches. Hey, if you're interested in this job, I know personally they've made an offer to a couple coaches. So it's not that way. The NFL, based on the rules, no one can be talked to until the end of the season. And we don't know who the hot coordinator candidates are going to be. We don't know that. It doesn't play out that way in the NFL.
The point that I'm making with McAdoo is this. If you want to chalk up the first half of the season to some bad luck, right? The first half of the year leading into the bye, we had Beckham break his leg. We had a 63-yard field goal beat us against Philadelphia. We lost at the gun the following week by a field goal. All right, go to the bye, regroup, see if we can salvage something. Since the bye, they play the Rams and get embarrassed. They get a 50 spot put on them. They then play the winless San Francisco 49ers, and they're down 31-13 with 90 seconds left in that game. You're not going to cut a dozen players on your team. At some point, that you fire a coach, if you know you're going to fire a coach at the end of the year, to see if you get any jolt from your roster moving forward. Like, to me, there's nothing to lose. They know he's not the guy.
So you're saying if the Mara family comes down today and they fire your boy, the defense is going to play harder now?
I don't know.
I mean, they walked out we got one guy walk off the field in Giant Stadium. All right? We had a couple guys suspended. So now all of a sudden, their contract is not with the head coach. Their contract is with the New York Football Giants. At the bottom of the check, that's what it says. New York Football Giants. It does not say one coach. And I don't believe guys play harder for one guy. Guys play harder, you know what, for their check and for their family and for their kids and for their mortgage and for their car payments. That's what they play harder for.
All right, so by the time we're sitting here tomorrow morning, you say Ben McAdoo's out, you say he's still in.
Yeah, but it don't matter to me if they fire him. I'm just telling you, don't help the team going forward the last 8 weeks. You gain zero advantage by letting him go now. You're paying him to the end of the season. Put him in the broom closet. Let him sit there for 8 weeks.
So I was just looking for
I ain't going to let you go home. No, I ain't going to let you go home and take no checks with you. No, I don't believe in that.
Time again for Hall of Fame hands. CC, here we go.
Without these hands, I don't know what I'd do.
Push yourself,
Here we have quite possibly the best catch of the season, Maurice Harris of the Redskins. Watch it.
Oh, my God. Now, that was a great catch. Great coverage by the Vikings corner here. Wayans, Michigan State graduate.
Great
Perfect man-to-man coverage, but there is no coverage for the perfect throw and the perfect catch. The ball comes on the other side of the defender. He stops the point of it and pulls it in and is able to get part of his shoulder in, and they gave him the catch. This was a tough call right here because you couldn't tell if he had control of it before his body hit the chalk. Great ruling, great catch. It's going to be hard to beat this catch for catch of the year.
First NFL game for this guy. Cut at the end of training camp 2 years in a row. Was a practice squad guy, just promoted. That was awesome. And by the way, it was ruled incomplete on the field.
Yeah,
they reviewed it and they overturned it.
Hey, coming up, do the Cowboys have way bigger problems than Ezekiel Elliott? That is next on First Things First.